Hello guys, welcome to my channel, Brian the Floridian. So today I'm going through Clermont, Florida, and I saw this cool roadside attraction behind me. It's called House of Presidents. Let me go in there and check it out, and you guys follow me. Alright guys, so this is the outside of the House of Presidents here. And in the parking lot they have a replica of the, actually it might be the original limousine used by some of the presidents in the past. So this is obviously an old, looks like a Lincoln Town Car or maybe a Cadillac limousine. And let me see, I'm looking for a sign out here that talks more about this car. The only thing I see is on the inside, and so far it says Presidents Nixon, Ford, and Carter. This is the White House limousine from 1973 to 1978. So this is a 1973 Cadillac. Let me show you guys the inside a little bit. It's got an old school TV right there. Looks like some old school. There you go, focusing. Electronics inside there. Telephone there. Alright, so that's the inside. It looks like where the driver sits is a little telephone there also, and maybe a few different gauges in there I'm not really sure of. But anyway, I thought this is pretty cool on the outside. Alright, let's take a look at the front. So anyway guys, they have a little mini Mount Rushmore outside, on the outside of the building right here. Little place you can sit down and have a picnic right here, maybe kind of sit there and just relax and study the outside of this Mount Rushmore here, the mini one here. Right, that's George Washington. Abraham Lincoln. I want to say Teddy Roosevelt. And I'm not sure who that president is. I have to look this one up. If you guys know the president's name right here, just leave a comment below. Alright, so let's go take a look inside. So this is a sign when you first walk into the House of Presidents here. It talks about what's inside. Looks like it's got some exhibits that were featured at the White House, and looks like a few things here that were used by the presidents and featured in museums. And there's a little miniature Lincoln Memorial when you first walk in, right through the front door. Alright, this is the original stone lithograph campaign portrait of William McKinley. It's 100 years old. Interesting. And here's a replica of the. If you're dining at the White House, is what you would sit down for dinner with right here.
Okay, I was going to call you a little later anyway. I called this group 5 times. Yes, they're supposed to be here like
Abraham
around
Lincoln right there.
1 o'clock latest. I called them 5 times. Plus I called you, but I don't have one for her.
Alright, so this is the inside right here.
941
This is huge.
627-5763. Now that's the group code. Let me give you her cell phone. 407-252.
How long did it take to build this thing?
To build a model, I'm not really sure. He's been working on that. Mr. Zeifel basically started doing this whole thing years ago, and the actual exhibit inside the White House itself is 60 feet long and 20 feet wide.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And it's been to Europe, it's been in all the state presidential libraries, it's been to Norway, Japan.
Huh. Wow. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So construction 1792 till the year 1800. Interesting. 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And the gentleman behind me was telling me that the wax figures were actual size of the presidents here and the first ladies. Alright, so this is a recreation of the desk where the Declaration of Independence was signed. And there is Thomas Jefferson right there, I believe. And some of the presidents right there. And right there you can see the names of each president, the year that they served. James Monroe, 1817 to 1825. Andrew Jackson. Also, the gentleman here told me that these are the First Lady dresses here. Oh, so one interesting fact is that these are the women that ran for president. So Hillary wasn't really the original ones. These were actually some of the original ones in the past. Victoria Woodhull would be the first female candidate. And different parties here. Including right there, Elizabeth Dole. She ran back in 2000. So Victoria Woodhull was a radical feminist, and she went on as far as run for president, so women would get equal rights as men. Interesting. So this flag was hung at Reagan's and Kennedy when they were in the office, Oval Office there. So you got some videos here to tell you more about the different things you see here in the museum. The Liberty Bell right there. So this is a replica of the Liberty Bell right there with the crack. There's some more presidents right here you can see. is Ulysses Grant sitting right there. So detail is pretty good with these wax figures. Another little video you can watch if you want to learn more about the presence in this little area right here. It's like John Wayne right there. Looks like the paper from the day that Lincoln was assassinated, right in front of me right here. April 15, 1865. So this whole section is linking on Abraham Lincoln right here. So this is interesting because this talks about the life masks that Lincoln made. He made two of them while he was alive. So these actually are alive, when he was alive, mask impressions made from his face and skull right there. Also his hand right there, it's a replica of his hand. So pretty good detail right there. And this article talks more about the life masks that he made. So these were made in 1860 and also in 1865. The second one was made in 1865. So this whole area right here is about Ronald Reagan, this whole little booth right there, and Nancy Reagan. And this is Gorbachev, who was a Soviet president at the time, with Ronald Reagan, and that's the museum curator, John Weifel. I'm saying his name right. And this is pretty interesting right there, the glasses from the Peace Summit when Reagan was in office with Gorbachev. So just to think that him and Gorbachev drank out of these glasses as they toasted the celebration of the Peace Summit. Alright, so this is interesting right here. This is when Reagan was at the Berlin Wall, and from the words of Reagan, Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall. He said that in 1987, June 12th. And there's a little piece of the Berlin Wall right there. So when you walk over here, you walk into this big gallery right here. All the different presents right there against the wall, wax figures. But the first thing you come to is, this talks about flipping the White House. So when each president came into office, they would make the transition of flipping the Oval Office right here. So this is Donald Trump's Oval Office there with the things he has in his office. And there's also a video you can watch about that right here. So there's a miniature version of the Oval Office right there. I believe that's Obama's office at the time when he had his stuff in there, when they were transitioning over. So each president is represented with his own little area right there. George Washington, so this is his little area right there. Talks about some of the history about each president. John Quincy Adams right there. So each one of these things corresponds to that president that's in the picture in front of it. These wax figures are up there. So the great detail, you can see definitely a lot of detail on some of these wax figures. And those, I believe, are the First Lady's dresses there. And there's Ben Franklin right there. And there is Franklin D. Roosevelt up there in the center of this gallery. So this talks about, this right here just basically talks about who's who in their place, right to left. So James Garfield would be this gentleman right there. And it's cool, it gives you a little bit about the history. It gives you in order of what president they were. So James Garfield's number 20. Then you have Theodore Roosevelt, number 26 president of the United States. And I believe he is right there. So you can get some focus on here. And there is Eleanor Roosevelt, her dress right there, what she would wear at the time. And Helen Taft right there. That's Helen Taft's First Lady dress right there she'd wear. And William Taft is right over her shoulder right there. So this is the first Oval Office in which William Taft presided in. And there's his desk right there. And this is in the West Wing, right? According to that little article right there to the right of this replica. You guys can see that right there. Alright, there is Laura Bush right in front of me, a wax figure of her. And right next to her, I believe, is George W. Bush behind her. And there is Hillary Clinton, a little wax replica of Hillary Clinton right in front of me. And right behind her shoulder is Bill Clinton. So we're getting more on the modern side of presidents right here. There's Ronald Reagan, George Bush Sr. behind him, and there's Jimmy Carter, and there is Richard Nixon, Henry Ford, I believe, is right there. Right there. So one of the guys that works here told me that the wax figures have to be kept under a certain temperature because Florida is so hot that they may melt, and some of the faces will be misshapen there, as Gerald Ford is. From this angle, you can tell his head's a little skinny from damage from the wax. But from this angle, it looks perfect. Alright, so this is interesting right there. Comparing Abraham Lincoln to John F. Kennedy. So a little bit of history about Abraham Lincoln and Kennedy I didn't know about. And there's a state dining room right there, a little replica of that. So on one side of the room there's a recreation of the White House. And as you can see, it's right in front of me right here. This is the front of the White House. A cool little small limousine right there. And even a Secret Service guy right in front of, on the front part of the house. And there's more figures along this side right here of all the presidents. And this section's all about JF Kennedy right here. Even a wax figure of him right there in the rocking chair. I think what's interesting about Kennedy, behind him is Marilyn Monroe, and they were alleged to be romantically involved at some point. So it's kind of funny they decided to put Marilyn Monroe next to Kennedy's exhibit right over here. Alright, there's some first ladies in their dresses there. And some figurines that look just like them. That's Lyndon Johnson's wife, Claudia Johnson. And there is Barbara Bush in her dress. Rosalind Carter, Jimmy Carter's wife, is right there, the first lady. And as you can tell, it looks just like her in the picture. Patricia Nixon and her dress and figurine. And Nancy Reagan looks just like her figurine, exactly like her figurine. And there is Jacqueline Kennedy. And she looks really strikingly similar to her picture. And there's Michelle Obama. Very, very great detail on these figurines right here. And there's some little information about the limousines that they drove for the presidents back in the early part of the century right there. Alright, this little telephone right there. So definitely a lot of memorabilia here. Alright, so this is a Zoetrope or Wheel of Life used to make motion pictures 1872 during the Grant administration. Let's go ahead and turn this and we'll see. Oh yeah, you can see that. Definitely going down the stairs. Interesting. So this whole case is about Jacqueline Kennedy and some of her things here. It's like some of her jewelry right there, earrings. So what's interesting, there's actually a wax figure of the curator of the House of Presidents right here, or Hall of Fame. John Weifel. And there's a bust of Obama right there, Barack Obama. It's like Trump right there, bust of Trump. Donald Trump. And there's a wax figure of FDR, Franklin D. Roosevelt, in his wheelchair. With his favorite Scotty, his dog. I'm not sure what his dog's name is, but I know he likes Scotty, the Scotty breed of dogs. So one thing you can see is you can see what the Oval Office looked like under each presidency. So Kennedy, this would be his Oval Office right there, what it looked like. And there is Lyndon Johnson's Oval Office right there in front of us. So I just push this button right here and it lights up the Oval Office of each president that's on this section right here. And there's Nixon's office right there, what it looked like back in the day. And Gerald Ford. And there is his office right there. And there is Lincoln's office right there back in 1864. There's the man himself right there in the corner. And there is Lincoln's cabinet room in 1864. So one thing about this place that makes it so cool is you can see inside the White House. In the first floor, the West Wing right there, it gives you a little diagram of what you're looking at. So you can look inside and see the different rooms in here. So that would be the president's private dining room would be right there. And there's like various bedrooms right here, offices. That's pretty cool. So this is looking at the back of the front of the White House, and this is the West Wing right here. So back over here is the Oval Office right there, where the president would be doing all his work in, pretty much. So just by looking at this, I never knew exactly how big the White House really was until I looked at this model over here. And that is the cabinet room. Way over there. So the Oval Office is the most famous office in the world. And that's the sign right there. And so this is a little recreation of the presidential desk right here in front of me. And there is President Trump right in front of us.
In 2005, at 58, Trump's TV career is taking off, and so is his personal life. He ties the knot for a third time.
So pretty decent detail. And one of the people that worked here told me that this is actually made out of latex. So there's no more wax figures here being made. So everything
year after their wedding, the 59-year-old
recently is made out of
Trump
latex,
becomes a
he
father
said.
for the 5th time.
And look at the
Melania has a
detail
son,
of that hand.
Baron
Pretty
William Trump.
impressive.
By all accounts, everything
That
seems
is
to be
really,
looking
really
up for
real.
him. And he's moving on to the line of suits and ties at Macy's. Trump, according to a marketing survey,
That's where you're at. I told you not to go back there. Alright, let's close the door. Alright, so here's another latex statue of President Barack Obama. Definitely look at the detail there. So it's moving around. Definitely look at that detail. He's actually staring at me right now. Alright, so push the red button to light up. I think I will. Oh wow. So definitely you can see all of the Oval Offices of each president right here. Reagan and Carter right in front of me. And there is some memorabilia. I didn't even see Trump move his hands around. Interesting.
On June 16, 2015, Donald Trump finally makes it official.
I am officially running for president.
Alright, so Trump gives a thumbs up for this place, and I do so far.
Our country great again.
But true to form, even in his announcements,
Alright, so some memorabilia from each president right here. In front of me, there's Gerald Ford's little booth right there. A little bit of stuff from Richard Nixon right in front of us here. And that is Reagan's Oval Office right there. So it's kind of interesting to see what each president has in their Oval Office, about what they would like to have in their Oval Office. That's still Reagan's Oval Office right there, looking from the other side toward the fireplace. Alright, let's push this button right here. And there is Bush's Oval Office recreation right there. And then you have Clinton right there too. So there's some subtle difference between each president, especially the furniture. So this is the back of the main part of the White House, and just the gravity of how big this place is just really surprising. It's really amazing to me. Alright, so that's the state dining room right there in front of us. And that's the First Lady's sitting room and the President's bedroom right there, according to this sign right there. And there's the study right there. So diplomat reception room, I believe, would be right on the bottom right there. And there is the blue room and the yellow oval room. There are definitely a lot of rooms in this White House that I do not know about. Lincoln bedroom and Lincoln sitting room would be right there. And there's Lincoln sitting room. And there's the East room, which is huge. Just the detail is incredible. Here's a garden in the back of the White House. First Family Theater will be right there. And plenty of Secret Service guys around here to make sure everything's safe. So her office would be right, I believe, right there. Alright, so we are leaving the main part of the room right here, the gallery.
The White House.
I got real good close-ups of them.
So lots of pretty good sized gift shop in here also.
I was telling this lady, you have to have older stuff and newer stuff. Some people come in, they don't care about the new stuff, they want the older stuff.
There's more stuff along here too that's not for sale, looks like.
Now really, I'm with you. Somebody think you were standing right outside there.
Right, you think that you were standing there.
Those are really nice pictures.
Look at that one.
Oh, wow.
Get through that 10,000
So even the gift shop's amazing. Look up here, all the stuff right there.
to do the work.
Yeah.
So it's not worth it.
No.
A lot of stuff on this side right here too.
It's well worth funding something like
Oh,
this.
yeah.
Definitely beautiful, beautiful.
you.
And in the suits.
Uncle Sam's
They
Patriotic
were itchy.
Emporium.
Imagine what they went through.
So you can get some Christmas stuff here while you're here.
Oh my
Back
God,
in the
they
day,
stuck.
that was it.
They stuck. I remember,
Alright guys, that's it for the tour, the inside of this House of Presidents. But interesting detail, the lady that worked behind the desk told me that the miniature White House has been all over the world, all over different countries, all over different states. So it's been pretty famous. It's been traveled all over the world. And for my gift shop experience, I got this, which is pretty cool. All the presidents on here, just a little dinner mat I got. But it has the presidents and also the first ladies, which is pretty cool. But guys, if you like my channel, if you like my adventure today, just hit the likes button below and also hit subscribe. And I will see you guys later. Take care.